Hi there, I'm Lisa from Mythical Witchery. Welcome to my channel, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Have you ever felt disconnected from your tarot and divination practice? Overwhelmed by your collection? Ambivalent about reading? Or guilty for not reading your cards as much as you think you should? I'm here to talk about that today and what I've done to get myself back on track, to reconnect to my practice. Last year, my tarot and divination practice took to the sidelines as I started to be overwhelmed with numerous personal issues, including the devastating and unexpected loss of my beloved companion, Jellybean, coping with grief, which triggered other grief, all of which led into a rather deep depression, several kind of serious health issues, and some other personal concerns. The result was that my tarot and oracle decks weren't touched very often, and because I have them in shelves where I can see them every day, I also began to deal with frustration, a bit of guilt, but mostly frustration about not having the motivation or desire to read them as much as I love doing. Frustration went back and forth with ambivalence, mixed in with the occasional guilt-laden self-chastisement about spending money on decks that I'm not even using. And half the time, I didn't even care. I didn't want to use my decks, and I was frustrated about feeling that way, because reading is good for my soul, and I always feel better when I'm doing something that feeds my spirit, and using my decks regularly does that. I also started to feel really overwhelmed. I have so many decks, and there they all sat, being virtually ignored. It was a horrible feeling. Now, I just want to say it's totally okay to take a break from our practice. We need to sometimes. In fact, in the last 40-odd years, I've taken several extended breaks from even looking at my cards, and that's okay. But at this point in my life, I don't really want to take an extended break. I want to use my cards. So I decided to take the issue in hand. I got a small bookshelf, which sits right next to the chair that I spend most of my time in, and I began the process of choosing 10 tarot decks and a handful of oracle decks to put on that little shelf within arm's reach. All I wanted to put there were my absolute favorites, decks that beg for me to read with them. Now, I do have some favorites that never really seem to change, but a lot of my favorite decks do change from time to time. For now, though, I only wanted decks that really, really call to me, and I wanted them within easy reach, so I have no excuse not to reach over, grab a deck, and start shuffling. This was not an easy process. Narrowing down hundreds of decks to 2 handsful is a lot more difficult than I thought it would be, but that's what I did. And now here I am, and I thought you might enjoy seeing the decks that I've chosen to focus my practice on, to reconnect with my practice for the foreseeable future. First up, I've got the Tarot of Echoes, and this is by Anna Torian. And you know what? I love her art so much, and I love this deck. If you did not get this deck, I have heard that it will be coming out mass market, possibly this year, which would be wonderful, and it will include a guidebook, which is super. Let's just take a look here. I love these cards so much. These are the backs. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the cardstock is, but it seems to be pretty good quality. And it's really easy to shuffle, and that's what matters the most to me. I need a deck that is shuffleable. They have a lovely, lovely shuffle. Oh, you'll have to excuse the cats, Oracle and Oreo. They're tearing around. But look at these. Aren't they just gorgeous? She is such a gifted artist. I really hope that one of these days I can get my book, which has already been published, but I really love to get the cover redesigned, and it would be an absolute dream to have Anna do the cover of my book. I think she's absolutely brilliant. I'm really sad that I missed out on the Oracle of Echoes. It's so hard to find these days. So hard to find, and people that are selling it want an absolute fortune for it. And I just cannot possibly justify spending that much money on a deck. I just don't have the money to spend on, that much money to spend on a deck. There's no way. But anyway, so that's it. That is the Tarot of Echoes. This is an absolute favorite deck, and I cannot see this losing that designation anytime soon. And I really believe that this deck will never leave my practice. I love it. One of my absolute favorites. The next deck I want to show you is a deck that has recently come into my collection. It is a recent release, and this is the Candra Tarot by Michael Candra. This is really beautiful. And by the way, if you'd like to see a walkthrough of any of these decks, just let me know in the comments down below, and I'd be happy to do that if I haven't done it already. I love the style of this. It reminds me ever so slightly of the Light Seers. Reminds me a little bit of the Practical Tarot. And there's another one as well that this reminds me a lot of. And at the moment, it's not coming to me. I love the color palette. I love the art. I think it's really, really pretty. Like I said, this one just recently came into my collection, and when I was going through my list of decks that I really, that were calling to me, decks that I wanted to choose to sit on that shelf of favorite decks, or decks that are, calling to me, it came down to this one or the Practical Tarot, and I ended up choosing this one. There's just something about it. So pretty. I know I'm really going to enjoy working with this. Look at that. So this is the Candra Tarot. We'll just have a quick look at how it shuffles, because that kind of plays into it for me too, because a big part of my experience is tactile. And if I can't shuffle a deck, or I really struggle to shuffle it, I'm a lot less likely to reach for it, and more likely to reach for a deck that's easy for me. So that is the Candra Tarot. Next on my list of 10 decks is the Heartwood Tarot. This is by Three Trees Tarot in the UK. I love this deck so much. Also, look at this bag. Isn't that bag perfect? Louise from Crystal Haven, UK, designed this bag for me on request when I received this deck from Stephanie Burrows at Three Trees Tarot. And I just absolutely love it. And she ended up putting it in her shop, available for sale. So look at that beautiful silk lining there. Now this deck is a bit harder for me to shuffle because it is really thick cardstock. This is a 400 GSM stock. You see how thick that is there. It is a really, really wide deck. So in this case, what I usually do is divide it in half and then shuffle each half and then mix them up, shuffle again, and so on and so on. These are the backs. Look at that cute little mouse. Oh my God, he's so cute. I absolutely love these decks. And the artist is Adam Ohlers, and he and Stephanie do all of these decks for Three Trees Tarot, which is Stephanie's company. I think he's just another really brilliant artist. And I love Stephanie's vision. Oh my God, I love her vision. Okay, she's coming out with a deck. Her next deck. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. But it's one of those little, cute little jumping spiders. I am a huge arachnophobe. But look at that Fool card. I'm so excited about it though, because, you know, of all the spiders, they're the only ones that I would say are cute. Oh, the name of the deck is on the tip of my tongue, and I just cannot think of it. The Unweaving? No, that's not it. I can't remember. I'll probably remember after I quit recording. That's always how it is. Isn't that gorgeous? Love this deck. Heartwood. This was a no-brainer for me. Absolutely love it. Now I'll just show you really quickly how I do this. So I'll just divide that in half. And then I find that a lot easier to shuffle. So I'll just shuffle each half a couple of times. And then obviously I would shuffle that part as well. Divide them together. Do a few overhands. And then divide them again and shuffle them again. But that is the Heartwood Tarot by Three Trees Tarot. And this is, like I said, an absolute no-brainer for me when it came to choosing these decks. This was one of the ones that was easy. My cats are going mental right now. Absolutely mental. I don't know if the weather is about to change or what, but they are tearing around like they're absolutely mad. Okay, next on my list of 10 decks is the Anima Mundy Tarot. This has been a favorite for a very, very long time. This is by Megan Weirwooden, and this is another indie deck. I'm sorry there's so many indie decks here, but, well, there's a reason why I love them, and it's because they're so good. Look at the back on that. This has got a gilding, but it doesn't bother me, and it hasn't chipped at all yet, which is a bit surprising. I'll quickly show you how it shuffles. It's got a lovely linen finish. So really, really nice shuffle. Good quality stock. This deck is a bit pippish, but it's okay. And when I say a bit pippish, I mean it's a bit pippish. It's definitely scenic. I just sounded like I contradicted myself. It's scenic, but it's a bit pippish. Yeah. It's kind of both. Like, this to me seems kind of pippish. But it's so beautiful. Love the animals. Love it. Oh my God, look at this. This is one of my favorite Five of Cups. In my grief series that I'm working on now, A Magical Journey Through Grief, I'm going to be doing an entire video just on the Five of Cups, and why I think a lot of people kind of get it wrong when they're interpreting the Five of Cups. They're focusing on one thing, and I think maybe they just don't understand that there's another side to this card. But I will be focusing on this card in an upcoming video. Oh, I just love this deck. It's so beautiful. Love, love. Look at that. Orca. Absolutely gorgeous. Love whales. Well, dolphins, technically. Very few humans in this deck, but it kind of, the fact that the devil is a human makes sense, doesn't it? Because when it comes to the animal kingdom, it's usually humans that are putting it at risk. Love this. Look at that. Isn't that perfect for death? Not that I'm a snake fan, but it's really perfect. Gorgeous moon card. Love this deck. Love working with this. And it's so nice to shuffle. I'm not not doing like a detailed look here today and look through the guidebook and all that stuff, because that's not what this is. I just wanted to share the decks that I chose with you for my 10 decks that I'll be working with. The next one that made the list is the Slow Tarot. And this is by Lacey Bryant. And this was another indie deck. It says it was published by Modern Eden, but I think it still counts as an indie deck. A really glossy box. But when you take the deck out, you discover that it is a beautiful linen finish. It's not too thick. I'm guessing from this that is a black core. There's just something about it that I haven't cut into one of the cards, obviously, but I'm guessing it's a black core or a blue at the minimum. And I'm probably wrong about that, but isn't that pretty? These are all oil paintings, and you can really tell if you're familiar with oil painting and so on. I can tell from the brushwork. When I saw this immediately, I said, oh, this is oil. Love it. Love this. Isn't that pretty? I recently put this one in order. When I took this out of my collection to add to my little shelf here, I thought, you know, this is a deck that I have barely touched. So I put it back in order, and that's something that I like to do when I'm trying to reconnect with a deck, is to go through everything, all the suits, separate them all, put them in order, and then I can focus card by card in order before I start to shuffle it again. Look at that Nine of Swords. Amazing. Yeah, just a gorgeous deck. Can't resist shuffling this one more time. Look at the back, because they're so pretty. With the moths and the teacup. Now I'll have to put that back in order again. Love this. I'm going to enjoy working with this over the next few months. I'm going to enjoy working with them all. I think that's what I kind of had in mind when I decided to do this. Was I wanted decks that are really calling to me, decks that are really speaking to my soul, decks that almost fly off the shelf when I'm looking for something to read with. And these decks all fit that category. That is the Slow Tarot. And we're officially halfway through the list. This next one should be no surprise to people who follow my my Instagram or my page on Facebook. I love the Gentle Tarot, and this is by Marisa from Mari in the Sky. And this is the smaller version of the linen edition that she did. And I've got the Oracle deck coming for this. It was recently on Kickstarter, and I'm so excited to get it. This one comes with some, reference cards here, as well as an alternative lover's card. Love these. These are the backs. Sorry, I just realized that I was holding it over here. You probably couldn't see that very well. My apologies if these cards aren't always in frame. I've got some shoulder issues, and so holding them up can be quite painful. Love that Hermit. This deck is so nice to work with. It is truly a gentle deck. Mari has the most beautiful spirit, and it really, really comes through on this deck. I'm going to try to link in the description box below all of the creators' websites. So if you're interested in any of these decks, please check them out. And always, when you can, buy directly from the creator or publisher, just because then you know your money isn't going to organized crime or to a massive corporation that really doesn't care about the creators. So that is the Gentle Tarot. I'll just give this a shuffle. These ones are really easy to shuffle if you've got smaller hands, because they're a slightly smaller size deck. Me, I have quite severe arthritis. So even though I don't have small hands, I still find it difficult to shuffle. But this deck, super, super easy. I think she actually designed it with people with arthritis in mind. Could be wrong about that, but I seem to recall reading that somewhere. So that is the Gentle Tarot. Next on my list is, this deck is a little harder for me to shuffle, but this is the Tarot of Oneness by Robin Voicey, and she's a Canadian creator, and she recently had a Kickstarter campaign for the Oracle deck, the companion Oracle deck, which I am so excited about receiving. Cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait. This is a really beautiful, beautiful deck. This one really speaks to my soul. Look at the backs, aren't they pretty? Love that. Sort of, I don't know if the camera is picking that soft, kind of peachy color up or not, but just gorgeous. I love that this deck is in the first person perspective. So it really gives a different perspective on the cards than we usually see. That is so cool for the Six of Wands. All the cameras, recognition. Love that. Got a few extra cards as well. Again with the killer whales. And yes, you did see 2 lover cards in here. I keep them in, honestly. I keep them both in. A lot of people will just choose one, but I keep it both. For personal reasons. But that is the Tarot of Oneness. I love this deck. A little bit harder to shuffle because the cardstock is not quite as flexible, but not really terribly bad at all. So we're getting through this list. Just got a few left now. And once again, the Tarot of Oneness. Next up, we've got the Way of the Panda Tarot, and this is by Kimberly Sam. And I believe she's another Canadian creator as well. Love this deck. Really can't wait for the Oracle. I'm not sure when that's coming out, but yeah, this is so gorgeous. Look at the backs. Look at that. Oh, hello. Speaking of Oracle. This deck really speaks to me. I love how much white space there is on here. It's absolutely perfect for the art. Beautiful deck. When I start to work with this, I tend to get a little quieter when I'm looking at it, just because I don't know. The artwork just, I love it. Oh, every deck I've shown you, I love the artwork. This card is great. Those are a few of the extra oracle cards that were added. Love these pandas. So this is the Way of the Panda Tarot. And for me, this was an easy choice. Love this. All right, for the penultimate deck of my list, this is the Wisdom of Pooh Tarot, and this is by Ruin for Vain, and I have a feeling that this one may soon be bumped off this list when I finally receive my Wisdom of Pooh and Tigger 2, which should be coming, I hope, in the next few months. Love this deck. Really love this. I had the one with the gold edges. When the Kickstarter campaign started, at one point during the campaign, they had asked how people felt about doing the sunshine yellow instead of gold. And there were enough people that said, no, we want the gold. So they decided to just do the gold. But I bought a copy of the deck after when I could get the yellow because I just love it. I think it's so perfect. The Tigger 2 has, the one I chose has orange edges. So quite excited about that. This is another linen finish. A lot of these decks that I've shown you actually are linen finish. Not all. Not by a long stretch. But I really love working with linen. This deck, to me, this is an inner child deck. When I'm doing inner child work, you can see I've actually got the 2 full cards. This one I don't normally keep in. When I'm doing inner child work, this is the deck that I almost always reach for. It does really speak to my inner child because obviously the stories of Winnie the Pooh, they were really dear to me in my childhood. So, love this deck. Okay, let's have a look at the shuffle here. It's a nice cardstock. I think it's a 350 GSM. I could be wrong about that, but that's how it feels anyway. And listen to me sounding like I know something about the cardstock. Yeah, lovely deck. So that is the Wisdom of Pooh Tarot. By Ruin for Vain. Okay, so we have one final deck. One final deck. This one, this deck has been sitting on my shelf for a few months. And when I first got it, I Oh my God, loved it so much. But then there were some questions that came up about whether this deck was AI. And looking at the cards, most of the cards, I couldn't see anything obvious, but there were a couple of cards that looked like they may have been AI. And I reached out to the creator, and he assured me, he was not the artist, but he assured me that it was not AI. Absolutely not. And yet still, I was unsure. And so it left me feeling very uncomfortable. And I didn't know how I felt about it. But at the end of the day, this deck kept calling to me from the shelf. I kept looking at the box, looking at the box, looking at the box. And I really, really felt pulled towards this deck. And this is part of what got me back into reconnecting with my practice. This deck calling to me, calling to me, calling to me. And so one day I took it off the shelf and I said, okay, I'm going to shuffle it. I'm going to shuffle and deal it and deal some cards. And I did. And I just felt, it felt right to me. Now, it may not feel right to everybody, especially when there's uncertainty involved, but I love this deck a lot. And I took it out of the box because the box is it's a huge box and it's beautiful, but it's too big. And the insert, I felt, could potentially damage the cards if I kept taking them out. So I found this bag on Etsy, little creator here in the UK. It was really cheap and really beautiful. And I thought it was absolutely perfect for the bag. So I'm not going to keep prattling. I'll just show you the deck. This is the Gothic Literature Tarot by Syrian Shadow. Like I said, he has said it is not AI, and I am going to choose to take him at his word. AI is a whole other issue, and I'm not going to get into it in this video. But I love this deck. It speaks to me. I think part of the reason why is because I've been in a really dark place for the last 6 months or so. Really dark. And I found that this deck, I was able to deal with some of the darker emotions that I've been feeling. I think it's an excellent deck for shadow work or just coping with grief. You know, I'm not going to start listing mental health things, but I think this is probably a really good deck to help you as you're working through some issues alongside, possibly some counseling if that's indicated. Yeah, I love this. Really love this deck. And I've decided that I'm going to work with it regardless. And I'm the kind of person who tends to take people at their word and to believe the best in them. Because you know what? Let's face it, there's a lot of crappy people in the world. So if I can give someone the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to. And that's a personal thing. Just really love this deck. It's so beautiful. And it speaks to my soul. And considering how dark the place is that I've been in for the last few months, how this deck has helped me deal with that and get through it. That says something. So this is another linen deck, and as you can see, really easy to shuffle. I think it's about a 330 GSM if I recall correctly. So yeah, not too thick, easy to shuffle, and lovely to work with. Okay, so before I go, I also wanted to share a couple of books that I've been working with to help me reconnect with my practice. Now, I'll be comparing these two books in a video soon, so make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss that video when I share it, if that's of interest to you. So this is the Tarot Activity book by Andy Matzner. Andy goes by Drea Bloom now. And Tarot for Creativity by Chelsea Pippin Mitzi. Let me just move these so you can see them a little bit better here. So like I said, I will be comparing these in an upcoming video, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, these two books are also helping me connect with my practice again. So that's what I need to do right now, just work on reconnecting with my tarot and divination practice. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. And until next time, may love and laughter light your days. Bye for now.